All right, it's the Week 11 edition of the Houston High School Huddle. Matt Stepp in a new location. He's always moving around. I'm always in the same whack room with all the whack stuff behind me. He's traveling the world all the way from Toronto to Louisville.
I'm down the street from you. I could have just come to your house and
Exactly.
recorded.
We could have done this, man.
I am in the palatial Dave Campbell's headquarters in Louisville, Texas.
Okay.
Just got done recording Stepp and Step, and now I'm talking to my guy Wizzy about a little H-Town football.
I can dig it. So last week, this is for some teams, this playoffs start right now. Mm-hmm. And one of the teams you got to see last week in Cy Springs against Waller. You had some thoughts on Cy Springs. They look a little beat up, huh?
They've been beat up all year. I think OG Fagan and his guys are really – the lights went out.
Somebody cut them off.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Hey, my guy Clayton cut the lights out on me.
It's typical Clayton.
Yeah, Clayton. Come on, man. OG Fagan,
Bigsby,
his staff. They're that's a spell show throwback there. They're holding it together with duct tape, chicken wire, bandages, whatever you can. They're holding it together, and they just look like a team that's just run out of juice to me. Right. Paris Melvin and Yogi Martin are having to carry so much of the load. Paris Melvin's playing both ways. I mean, he's a great player, but just feel like the grind is kind of just worn. He just didn't look himself Saturday in that game against Waller. Full credit to Waller. Right. Coach Marcus Mendoza's done a great job with Waller. If you watched our preseason podcast, I told everyone.
Yes, he did.
Waller and Cy Lakes are two teams to watch out for.
And here we are
week 11, and what are we seeing? So Waller is in, Cy Lakes could get in with the win. So, yeah, lots going on.
We call this the playoffs. They're already in the playoffs because they got to do it right now.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is basically a playoff game. Cy Springs wins. I think they need a little help. I think if Lakes wins, I think they're in pretty much straight up. So, maybe if Langham Creek wins against Bridgeland, something crazy could happen. But for all intents and purposes, it's a playoff game. But Cy Springs, Langham's playing Cy Ranch. My bad.
Yeah.
I think if we're back to your original question, Springs, they just look worn down. They just look like a team that's gone through a lot of injuries this year, and they've gone through so much. And do they have one more game left in the tank against a Cy Lakes squad that is surging late? Mm-hmm. Cy Lakes is playing their best football right now. We'll see. I'm leaning to Cy Lakes in this one, which I think would probably mean they get maybe their first playoff appearance in school history.
Yeah, that would be awesome if they could do that. But also the other way, too, because I'm a big Cy Springs fan with those two guys, too. So we don't know what's going to happen. But let's go ahead and start and take a look at some projections here, and we'll talk about games in the deal as well. If you look at 13-6A, we had this figured out 3-4 weeks ago. There's nothing new here. It's D1 is going to be the Woodlands and Grand Oaks. D2 is going to be Carl's Park and Willis. But did we have any switch up there in 14-6A as far as the teams that they're going to play? As of now, these are all as of not predicting any kind of wild arse upsets coming through. So I'll bring that up every time we go to one of these things.
You did all your tiebreaker research, right?
I haven't done that. So this is barring any wild upsets. But this is one. Well, this is one that tiebreaker does come into play, right? Yeah,
because of Aldine Davis's upset win over Westfield last week. Shout out to Kelvin Chatham and the Davis Falcons. He's done a great job. Kelvin Chatham did a great job at Booker T. Washington a couple of years ago, taking them to a 10-0 regular season. He's doing it again at Davis. They made the playoffs last year. This year, they're in line for a share of the district championship. So if results hold, we're going to have Nimitz, Davis, and Westfield all at 6-1.
Okay.
We go to the tiebreaker. Remember, the tiebreaker is not divisions. It's straight up 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. In this case, it's 1, 2, 3. In this case, here's how the tiebreaker goes. Nimitz 1, Westfield 2, Davis 3. So this is correct. If form holds, Nimitz will be the D1-1, and they'll play in the first round of the playoffs. They will play Grand Oaks.
Grand Oaks, yeah.
Davis will take on the Woodlands. Division 2, Westfield will play Willis. Eisenhower will take on College Park.
And which one of those games would be the most competitive in your eyes? So we talked a lot about 13-6A.
I think Nimitz and Grand Oaks.
Nimitz and Grand Oaks would
the
be
most
the
competitive game. Grand Oaks' first playoff appearance in school history. Nimitz has been in the playoffs. So if 14-6A has a shot at a win in the first round, it's going to be Nimitz and Grand Oaks.
All right, well, if we move to 15-6A, this is barring Klein getting a win over Magnolia and then Tomball Memorial beating Klein Oak.
Correct.
I don't think both of those things are going to happen, so this is what it's going to look like if they don't happen. And who at the beginning of the year would have Magnolia D2-1? I mean, we'd had them in the postseason, but I don't think we'd have them as a 1 seed, as a home game.
They're playing Chase Lowry and that Magnolia. Chase Lowry on offense, that Magnolia defense been getting the job done. I mean, they're a bad fourth quarter away from going undefeated in the district, against Klein Collins. So shout out to those guys. They've got a, good football team over there, and they're doing some things. Klein was kind of the talk of the early season. I think injuries just kind of wore them down. They just couldn't win close games this year. This is one of those years where Klein, I think they lost 3 in a row by a touchdown or less. Just couldn't get over the hump in those close one-score in the margins football games. So Klein's not mathematically eliminated, but they need a lot to go right. Probably unlikely. So I feel pretty confident this is what we're going to see come playoff time.
So Klein Collins is a team that could actually benefit from getting their playoff spot. Last year, they sat there and they had to wait and see what was going to happen. This year, they got their spot. Now they just can sit back and get healthy.
Yeah, they got the Week 11 bye. They ran the gauntlet this year, going 9-1, and yeah, you get a chance to get a little rest, do a little scouting, and try to clean a few things up this week before you go into the playoffs. I know I was talking to another coach in the Dallas area who has the Week 11 bye, and he's kind of like, I gave my coaches the weekend off, and I gave the coaches and kids Monday off, and then we're going to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then, Thursday, Friday night, we're going to go out and scout possible playoff opponents. So give the kids a little bit of a chance to regroup and a lot of the guys, go see the trainer and get healthy. So, yeah, if you can get through the gauntlet, the Week 11 bye, it's real split with the coaches. Some coaches don't like the Week 11 bye, but I guarantee you the coaches that have it are glad it's here now because they get some rest. Yeah.
That late bye. All right, 16-6A. Cy Ranch went ahead and got their number 1 spot by beating Bridgeland last week.
Great win for Coach Will Blaylock and the Mustangs there. Coach Blaylock found this out. First black head coach to win a district championship in football in Cy-Fair ISD. So congrats.
That is pretty awesome.
To Coach Blaylock. He's done a great job in year 2 there at Cy Ranch. They are the district champs. They had a convincing win over Bridgeland last week. And they're going to be a dangerous team come playoff time. They're going to be dangerous come playoff. It's a good Cy Ranch ball club.
They started off a little struggling in the non-district, but they have taken care of business here. And I know they're going to probably want to go undefeated. I have Langham Creek up there as part of the D2, but Cy Ranch is eager to get that undefeated district season. Then Langham Creek maybe get run down a little bit there. But Waller, we're assuming they're going to beat Cy Park. Every week they're not going to have Harold Perkins come in there. So yeah, there'll be D2.
Harold Perkins is not walking through that door. At least not to play varsity football for Cy Park, no.
But to look for the last spot, it'll be probably between the winner of Cy Lakes and Cy Springs, and then if Langham Creek can pull off that upset over Cy Ranch. I don't know. If you had to predict, I think you would predict Cy Lakes, right?
Right now I'm picking Cy Lakes, but listen, always crazy stuff happens at Cy-Fair ISD. You just never know. But I think that's probably the smart money. I'll tell you what, fun. Bridgeland and Klein Collins in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah. Where do I sign up for that?
That's wild.
Waller and Magnolia. That is a fun old rivalry there in Northwest Houston.
How about that?
Those two towns.
Actually, I think isn't going to be Waller and Tomball since.
Sorry, you're right. Waller and Tomball again. Two towns that are not far from each other that have been playing forever. They were once small towns, rural. When Houston hadn't grown out that far, they were small towns out in the middle of nowhere. Used to play each other. So a lot of fun matchups here in the first round of the playoffs. 15 and 16 6A is where it's at in the bi-district round in Class 6A in the state of Texas. These are some of the best bi-district games you'll see.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to see if playoff Tomball shows up. Playoff Tomball. We know we don't know which one's going to show up, but if it's playoff Tomball, oh brother,
we know about playoff Tomball.
Amen.
Dave Hammer gets them going.
17-6A, I believe these are all settled here with Cy Falls and Cy Fair going D1. Memorial and Stratford, even if Stratford pulls off the upset, they're not going to jump Memorial here. So that's just for a rivalry game there at Tully, which we'll be at still because of the rivalries.
Big game, be a big crowd, fun game. Yeah, I mean, Cy Falls' big win over Fair last week. Tell you what, Chris Brister, they got something cooking at Cy Falls. That's a young and talented ball club that I think could make a little noise. And I think they'll be big favorites in the bi-district round of the playoffs. And, hey, looking ahead, Cy Fair versus Houston Lamar in the first round of the playoffs, that's a great first-round game. So there'll be some good games.
Coaches aren't really giving Cy Falls their respect, though, in the rankings. They got Cy Fair in there at 20, but they can't get Cy Falls in the
Come on, coaches. Cy Falls beat Cy Fair last week. Come on, what are we doing?
One-on-one. I don't understand what's happening here.
Are you guys working? I guess you're working, but,
They're just like, whatever. Memorial, they give them respect. They're up at 10, so that's pretty good for the Houston area. Here we got Lamar and Bel Air, D1, D2, Heights, D1, and Wisdom. If they can get Pi Chavez, they're in there at D2. But last week when I talked to you about it, you were saying that, that's not a shoe-in.
No, it's never a shoe-in. You get to the kind of the bottom of the HISD there. I think Wisdom's the favorite, but you just never know. And there's pressure on those guys this week. Chavez is just kind of like, we're just going to play. Wisdom, they're playing for their first playoff appearance since 1979. Whew. So before I was born, and I'm old. So,
right.
This is a big deal for Wisdom. So, I think they'll win, and I think they'll get into the playoffs, and it'd be a great story. But you got to take care of business. I think the game is, I believe, is it a Thursday or a Friday game?
Let's check real quick. Friday. Let's do that because I thought it was Friday.
Checking this great website.
It's Friday. I think Lamar's the only one that's playing on.
It's a Friday game, so I hope maybe it'd be a cool story if they can get in. Hopefully maybe you can get a camera out there for that game.
I would like that. Yeah, I would like that. We're gonna look through that
just to film the celebration if Wisdom can get it done.
Absolutely, because we got one of those up in Dallas that we're doing, Fort Worth, Carter, Riverside, which I couldn't even tell you their mascot until last week, and now
Eagles
they're playing for a playoff spot. You know every mascot in the land. I'm just a young boy from the streets of Virginia. I got to learn these names.
You're a Texan now. You love Dr. Pepper. You love Buc-ee's. You love Whataburger.
Let's move on to 1968 before you start talking even crazier. This is how it's going to come out unless there's some real wild upsets, a Maid Creek upset over Katy, and then they can't even get in on that. They still need other things to
happen. Yeah, I would say this is 99.9% locked in at this point. Shout out to Cinco Ranch, man. They've gotten on a roll in district play.
7-1.
Davis Root just out here dropping dimes. Chris Dudley's done a great job with that program. Pato wins that battle royale with Maid Creek and Tompkins to get the last playoff spot. Katy Jordan's, kind of fought through a lot of injuries, still playing good ball. And then you got, obviously Katy, and right. That goes without saying. So Katy in the D2 bracket adds a lot of spice to that Division II bracket with, teams like CE King, Summer Creek. You throw Katy into the mix and the bracket gets a lot. Shadow Creek bracket gets a lot tougher.
The D2 19 versus 26A, I think that could be a sweep for 19-6A. But I kind of like the Fulshire versus Cinco Ranch matchup and maybe even Strike against Pato. Those two could be fairly competitive.
Well, here's one correction.
This isn't for sure. This is not for sure, but go ahead. What's the correction?
The game to watch here is Elsick and Taylor.
Right.
Okay. If Elsick beats Taylor, Elsick is going to be into the playoffs, and that will push Strake back to Division II.
Okay. Interesting. What about
Elsick with the tiebreaker? It would be a three-way tie.
Three-way tie. Got you.
Yeah, a three-way tie with Foster, George Ranch, and Elsick. George Ranch would be the odd team out in that scenario. But Elsick's quarterback got injured last week. His status is uncertain for this week. So Caden Mendenhall is a really good football player for A-Leaf Elsick, the Rams coach. So if he's not available, that might tip the scales to Taylor. So that's the game to watch in this district, the A-Leaf Bowl.
Well, tell me who the three-way tie. Oh, the 3A tie would be with Foster.
Foster
loses to Straight. I got you.
Yep.
So this is if those things fall into shape.
Correct.
That's what could happen. So
correct.
Interesting. All
so
right.
Strake. If Elsick wins, that would push Strake into the D2 bracket. Fulshire would become the D1-1, and Elsick would become the D1-2, and Foster would be the D2.
You would think Strake would rather be in D, at least for the first round, D1-1, right? If they had their choice. I wouldn't want to mess with Katy or Jordan.
Probably,
or Jordan.
Yeah, because if you're the D1, the D2-1, you're probably playing Katy Jordan in the first round. So
right.
Yeah, I would say first round maybe, but Strake did a great job last year in the D2 bracket. So
yeah, I already penciled Foster in as a. I didn't even think about the tiebreaker.
Put it in pencil. Always erase it. can
That
always
is true.
erase.
Get the eraser
I
out.
think Foster is in. I just think it's a matter of what seed they're going to be.
Right. Now, this is also a projection because there's some things that could happen to keep Bush out, but this is your 21-6A bracket here for the most part. Ridgepoint, won 12 out of the last 13? I know it's their 10th straight
so,
title.
Yeah.
That's all they do over there. If they don't win it, they get smacked around by Coach LaFavors. And we win district titles here. But the way they beat up on Hightower, I don't think the D2 teams are going to give much competition to the guys. Because remember, there's only like 2-3 years ago where Hightower went fairly deep in the playoffs.
Regional final, yeah, they were
Regional
final against Summer Creek.
This year, it was 2 years ago. This year, it's not looking so good.
Hightower's young, a lot of real young football teams. So the one spot up for grabs is Fort Bend Bush. So them and Elkins are both 3-3 right now. Fort Bend Bush is in with a win
over Dulles.
Over Dulles, who's winless in district.
Right.
They can get in with a win or an Elkins loss to Hightower.
Okay.
The only way Elkins can pass Bush is Elkins has to upset Hightower, and they need Dulles to pull the upset over Bush. So not locked in stone, but likely Bush getting that. And that's a great Bush is a great story considering the passing of Coach Alders last year. Coach McNeil comes in first year, done a great job there at Fort Bend Bush, getting them back on the brink of a playoff appearance. Yeah,
they're looking like they could get in here. Now, what I should have done for 26A, I did do for 22-6A. If Manville beats Dobie, this is what the deal would look like. Pearland and Dawson in D1, D2 would be Shadow Creek and Manville. But if Dobie pulls it off, all of a sudden Dawson drops to D2. Shadow Creek is D2-2, which they won't like, I'm sure. They'll still have an all right time with Hightower, but they're not going to. I can't pencil in anything against Fort Bend teams after what happened last year with Shadow Creek.
Yeah, these by district matchups were crazy last year. So obviously, and then speaking of crazy, Manville and Dobie last year was one of the crazier endings you'll ever see.
Right.
With Dobie throwing into the end zone to go up 21 to win the game and get into the playoffs, and the announcers are not knowing what's going on, and they're like, "Why? Well, these classless Dobie Longhorns are throwing into the end zone up 14 points. No, they need to win by 18, guys.
Exactly.
And crazy, one of the craziest things you'll ever see. I don't think it happens this year. I think Manville is going to be on a high upset alert.
Right.
By the way, snapshot day was Friday. Don't be surprised if Manville drops to 5A.
Goes back to 5A.
They're going to be right on that cut line. But Manville, I think, is going to be on high alert this week. I don't think they lose to Dobie. I don't think they have the same thing happen to them twice. But this year, Dobie just has to win. They don't have to win by a certain number of points. They just got to win.
Yeah, feel free to drop that knowledge in here every time when you see something come up that you want to mention about Snapshot Day, because, or as I called it on the Friday night recap, Snapchat Day. It's like, what in the world? Snapshot Day, yeah, mention that, because there might be something to mention here. I believe I've read somewhere Summer Creek's maybe going up to maybe looking more like a Division I team and a Tascasita Division II if all these teams always keep making it.
Yeah, I think Summer Creek's passed Tascasita in enrollment. So if things happen next year, we could have North Shore and Summer Creek in D1. So, Snapshot Day was Friday. Schools are still turning their numbers in. If you're a really high school football nerd like this guy, me, big nerd here, you love Snapshot Day because it's just a data dump. So, a lot of fun. But here, I think we're pretty much set. I don't think there's anything that can happen here. So big win for North Shore versus CE King last week. They are still the kings of the East Side.
Summer Creek upsets North Shore, and Channelview comes out big on CE King. Well, then that thing mixes it up a little bit. But I don't know who's betting on those kind of things, considering Channelview's coming off a 70-0 loss. You're not going to give up 70 and all of a sudden win a game.
Yeah, tough scene there.
24-6A, this is assuming a Dickinson win. Dickinson will be 1, Deer Park 2. Clear Falls beat Springs head-to-head, so that's 1-2 right there in D2. Boy, your boy from Deer Park, they can't catch a break. They're going to end the season playing Dickinson and then North Shore. So in our poll, 2 and 3.
Yeah,
good luck.
The Deer, got off to a good start and kind of fading late. Yeah, I'd say, Dickinson is going to be a big favorite over Deer Park this week, so I think this is pretty much how it's going to go.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Flynn just a little while ago, and he said, man, me, you, Diggs, Me, you, Stepp, and the UIL need to get on some sort of call where I don't have to play these teams every time you all mix up realignment. I get stuck playing these squads. It's like, we'll
hey,
see.
Coach Flynn, make the check out to cash. We will talk.
We'll work it out.
I will be your consultant with the UIL for sure.
We'll work out them connections. All right, let's talk 9-5A Division I. Ran out of time to do those things, but this is the one that I would probably have to put together 4 or 5 different little slates there to talk about it, because we got Lufkin. We're thinking is going to beat Ball. We know Port Arthur Memorial's in, but then there's the other 2 games that we've been talking about all year long.
Yeah,
or at least it seems like ever since Barbers Hill got beat by Baytown Sterling, we've been kind of zooming into this Week 11 matchup. Your thoughts here on those 2 big games, Barbers Hill, Westbrook, and Baytown Sterling and United?
Barbers Hill and Westbrook is really the big one. If Westbrook wins that game, all hell breaks loose. This district devolves into chaos, 3-way tie, everything. Okay, so Barbers Hill wins, then we're pretty much clear of craziness. Barbers Hill beats Westbrook. Barbers Hill's the 2 seed. Lufkin's the 3 seed, and then the winner of Sterling and United is into the playoffs.
Right.
Okay. If Barbers Hill loses, then Barbers Hill's 3-3, Beaumont Westbrook's 3-3, and then the winner of Sterling and United is also 3-3. Okay. Now here's where it gets crazy.
They've all beaten each other, right? Go ahead.
Well, no. If it's Sterling, Westbrook, and Barbers Hill tied at 3-3,
yeah,
Barbers Hill's out.
Okay.
Barbers Hill misses the playoffs because they would have lost head-to-head to Westbrook and Sterling. So in that scenario, it'd be Port Arthur 1, Lufkin 2. The 3 would be Westbrook, and the 4 would be Sterling. Okay. If Barbers Hill loses to Westbrook and United wins, then you have a 3-way tie with Barbers Hill, United, and Westbrook. And I'd have to sit there and do the math. And I don't know the other tiebreaker level, but I know it'll be a 3-way tie. I think Barbers Hill, depending on how much they beat United. If memory serves, I think they beat United
beat them 25-0. Yeah, they shut them out.
Yeah, let's say maxed out on them. So I think Barbers Hill would be okay. Then it's a matter of how the district breaks the tie with United and Westbrook. Do they go back to head-to-head, which United would have that, or they go to points, which Westbrook might have a shot? So a lot of chaos.
What is your thoughts on Westbrook? Because it's not really technically in our viewing area, but that loss to United has really got me scratching my head, because the United can't even put up points against some of these teams, and here they are beating them with 35. And I feel like it's put Westbrook in a bad spot here. But go ahead.
I feel like it's a rivalry game. United and Westbrook's I chalk that up to rivalry game chaos. All
right. Well, who do you think wins against Barbers Hill?
I think Barbers Hill beats Westbrook. I think we'll have a lot more simpler playoff path Friday night. I think we'll have Barbers Hill beats Westbrook. Barbers Hill gets the 2 seed. Lufkin's the 3 seed, and then the winner of Sterling and United is in straight up. That's it. Now we really start getting into craziness if Galveston Ball somehow beats Lufkin. If that happens, then we're just in full.
Well, if out of nowhere the Williams brothers show up and put their uniforms on, they're still young enough to let all heck breaks loose.
Yep.
Well, that would make it easier for my guy Jason to put this scenarios together, considering I'll be at the VCU game, not being tell him nothing about anything. All right, 10-5A Division I is fairly cut and dry, I think. I mean, we got Madison in. Obviously, they're the division title winners. Waltrip and Westbury look like they're in there because they have. Waltrip has to. If Waltrip beats Sterling, I think Sterling's in too, right?
Well,
I mean, because if they tie with Galena Park.
So if
there's Spring Woods to deal with.
Yes. So if Sterling Sterling and Waltrip play Friday night.
Yeah.
If Sterling wins, they will be the 3 seed. Waltrip will be the 4 seed. Okay. Madison and Westbury are 1-2. We know that. Here's where the chaos happens. If Waltrip beats Sterling, Sterling drops to 4-4. Then you have Galena Park at 3-4, plays Houston Austin. You feel like Galena Park's going to win. They'll be 4-4. Houston Spring Woods also is at 3-4 after their win over Sterling last week. They have Milby.
No.
If Spring Woods beats Milby, then you have a 3-way tie at 4-4. If Spring Woods wins, Sterling loses, and Galena Park wins.
Right.
In that scenario, Galena Park would be into the playoffs as the 4 seed. Okay.
Interesting.
If Spring Woods loses to Milby, then it's a 2-way tie with Sterling and Galena Park.
With Sterling in.
Sterling is in because they beat
that overtime win earlier.
They won head to head. If somehow Galena Park loses to Austin and Spring Woods beats Milby and Sterling loses to Waltrip, then Sterling and Spring Woods would be head to head and Spring Woods would get in. So Spring Woods is probably not going to get into the playoffs. They need a lot to go their way.
They do.
The most likely scenario, though, I think, is the 3-way tie. Right?
Yeah.
I think Galena Park is the most likely scenario in the 3-way tie here.
Interesting, because Sterling is absolutely, stumbling to the finish line here after that impressive win over Galena Park. They lost 2 out of the last 3.
Yeah.
But that loss to Spring Woods is really going to end up biting them in the butt.
It could. It really could.
They could have clinched that thing. Interesting. All right, well, I don't think Spring Woods, like you said, has a chance because I don't have any faith in Austin pulling off an upset here. So let's move on to 11-5A Division I, where we saw the LaPorte got on them big, and that was kind of wild because you were mentioning how Bryce Duran probably wasn't going to play. Duran wasn't going to play. He didn't. They tried just about everything. I don't know if you saw the highlights. They did 2 halfback options for touchdowns. They put the jammers back there several times as quarterback. They did whatever they could to try, and it fought them back in it. Exactly.
They did.
They fought back in the thing after being down by a lot.
They just dug themselves too big of a hole, and I think you could see Angleton is a very. It's unfortunate. Angleton is a very when operating at 100%. Angleton is a really, really, really good a team that could go to Arlington. They are just so beat up. So many guys that are key are hurt. I just don't know how long they're going to be able to hold this thing together. So it's unfortunate, but it's football too. So LaPorte, they got it. They pulled away, got up to a big lead, hung on late. But I think if you're a LaPorte fan, you got to feel good about it. The one concern I do have about LaPorte is when they run up against a high-powered offense, can their defense consistently get stops? Big game this week. Angleton and Crosby are playing for the 2 seed.
Right.
As wounded as Angleton is, Joe Willis's ball club could pull the upset here. Keep an eye on that game this week. And I think Friendswood is locked in as the 4 seed. We actually already know their first-round playoff matchup. They are going to play. They're going to play Austin Anderson Saturday at 3:00 at House Park in Austin.
Oh, my goodness. You've already got the matchups? I need to talk to you off air. We're going to go through all the games, and you're going to tell me where they're all played.
I got that one. Hey, I do know. Hey, I'll give you this little nugget here.
Let me hear it.
Rich Point's playing their first playoff game Thursday night.
Thursday? I got to take another swig of the sweet tea.
Yeah. Look at you. You are a Texan drinking sweet tea.
I love me some sweet tea. That can transcend over from Virginia right there. So let me ask you, have you talked to Coach Britton? Do we know how serious some of these injuries are? Is it end of season type injuries for Bryce and some of these other guys, or do they have hopes of coming back?
I'll be honest. I've not talked to Coach Britton
right.
about their injuries, and if I did, and he told me in confidence, it was probably in confidence. I wouldn't be able to tell you anyway,
right.
at least on the air.
Right.
So, but I have not actually. So I think it's more of a wait and see type thing for Angleton. It didn't look great though. I mean, not just eyeball test here, but I got no inside knowledge, and I usually coaches. I try. They're pretty busy. So if I talk to him about a playoff matchup, I may sneak it in and ask him what the status is. But I would say unknown at this time. We'll find out at kickoff.
All right. That's good enough. I'll take that. All right. 8-5A Division II. Let's talk a little there because we got P&G in there. They beat Montgomery, so they got the district title. They got Montgomery sitting there at second. Huntsville looks like they're locked in there at third. And are we thinking Lake Creek? There's still a chance that Lake Creek could lose to Nederland, or excuse me, they're playing
West Fork. Lake Creek. So Lake Creek is not clinched yet. They're 3-3. Dayton is also 3-3.
They're playing P&G though.
Lake Creek is in with either a Dayton loss or a Lake Creek win.
And there's no chance.
The only chance Dayton has is they got to beat PNG and then hope Lake Creek loses to West Fork. Probably unlikely, so I would say Lake Creek is the 4 seed. They're going to get the pleasure of going up to Texarkana to play Texas High. Good luck with that. And then Huntsville's the 3 seed. They'll probably take on Marshall. Really good first-round game. They're out in East Texas. That'll be a fun one. And then it looks like Montgomery will host Mount Pleasant. They're in Montgomery. That's a sneaky, tough game for Montgomery. Mount Pleasant has got a really good front seven. Mount Pleasant held Texas High to 21 points. They lost to Texas High 21-15. Right. They're a good football team. And then PNG will host, most likely, Nacogdoches.
Okay. PNG's playing like a machine right now.
PNG will be a big favorite. And then Montgomery, if they can get past Mount Pleasant, they get South Oak Cliff in the second.
South Oak Cliff. We're going to go into 958 D2 here in a second right now, but I talked to Coach Snelson, and he had talked to somebody on the North Shore staff, and the North Shore staff were saying they felt South Oak Cliff could beat any team in Houston, 6A, all the way down to 1A. Now, I don't know if that's just because they lost to them, but they're saying they're so uber talented. I'm sure Randall has something to say about that. Probably Iowa Collie, a whole bunch of other 5A Division II teams, but they left an impression on North Shore to the fact that I doubt they'll even play them again in the non-district. I don't know. Maybe they will, but that was a game way back in week 1. Things have changed, though, over at North Shore, but let's get into 9-6A. Randall is doing what Randall does. They had that great game with Iowa Colony, but then they've given up 14 points the last 4 games. They haven't not even getting touched. But what the big thing is, Fort Bend Marshall did what they were supposed to do. You went out on the air, told them they got to win by 5, so they went ahead and win by 14.
So
now it's looking good for them. Tell me something.
So you still have games this week to be played. So Fort Bend Marshall,
right?
They need Fort Bend Marshall, big Iowa Colony fans this week. They need Iowa Colony to go ahead and take care of business against Texas City, because if Texas City beats Iowa Colony, then Fort Bend Marshall is back in a tie with Santa Fe, and that tie is not good for them. So what Fort Bend Marshall's hoping is they win, and they're hoping Iowa Colony then defeats Texas City, which would result in a 3-way tie where Fort Bend Marshall and Texas City would be into the playoffs and Santa Fe would be out. Now, here's where it gets tricky. This district's only positive points, not net points. It's positive only.
Interesting.
In that case, Texas City and Fort Bend Marshall both maxed out in their wins. Texas City maxed out on Santa Fe. Fort Bend Marshall maxed out on Texas City. So they're even. The district minutes, to me, common sense would say if you're tied on points, then you go back to head-to-head.
Yeah.
Marshall beat Texas City, so Marshall should be the 3 seed. Texas City's the 4 seed. Apparently, it's not in the district minutes. So it's my understanding if this happens, there's going to be a coin flip Friday night for the seeding between Texas City and Fort Bend Marshall. Even though I don't think it's very fair because Fort Bend Marshall beat Texas City head-to-head, but it is what it is. That's the rules. That's what they got to go by. So it's my understanding if that happens, Fort Bend Marshall and Texas City will have to flip a coin to decide the 3 seed and who the 4 seed is. So
would you know the matchups for each one of those? Like who's the 1 and 2 over in another?
So Brenham, who was the team we were talking about all year, got upset by Waco University last week. So the 4 seed in this district would have to go all the way to Waco to play University. The 3 seed would have to go on the road, but a little bit closer of a road trip as they only got to go to Brenham.
Oh, interesting.
Randall is going to play at home against Killeen Ellison, and it looks like Iowa Colony is going to play at home against Belton.
Interesting. All right. And there's another thing that Marshall can hope for. They can hope for Rosenberg Terry to take out Santa Fe. Maybe that's got a better chance happening because that drops them to 4 losses.
That could happen as well. So, and then you would just go back to head.
Yeah,
Marshall and Texas City, no points. Marshall and Texas City head, and Marshall would have the edge.
Yeah, interesting. All right, well, we'll see how that plays out. All right, 11-4A Division I. That's our Houston district in 4A, and we have our North Forest in there. We got Yates, obviously, who's just dominated everybody. I mean, it's been wild the way Yates has been playing. Worthing is in, and what do we got? Wheatley? Is Wheatley definitely in, or no? They still got to wait for Fur, right?
Big win for Wheatley last week over Worthing. So if Wheatley beats Kashmir on Saturday, 6 o'clock, Don't like that. Saturday at 6, Wheatley and Cashmere play. Wheatley will be a big favorite in that game. If Wheatley wins that game, Wheatley would jump Worthing and go to the 3 seed. Worthing would be the 4, Wheatley's the 3. If Cashmere pulls the upset and beats Wheatley, then we go into a possible 3-way tie with Wheatley, Fur, and Booker T. Washington. Fur, and in that case,
that 3-way tie is very rare because Yates, they have to beat Yates to get to that, and they're not going to beat Yates.
Yes, they have to beat Yates.
Fur, that is.
Booker T has Northside, which they should win. And so then Booker T and Wheatley would go back to head-to-head. In that case, Booker T would be in because they beat Wheatley head-to-head. So there's a lot of moving parts here. We'll know a little bit more after Friday night, but this actually won't be fully decided until late Saturday.
Right.
I've got some contacts in Houston that are going to keep me updated Saturday evening on this game because this may be – I think this is actually the final – there's one other Saturday night game in San Antonio, but that team is locked into their playoff seed, so it's really nothing on the line except just changing their record. Right. The actual final playoff spot in UIL 11-man football in the state of Texas will be decided after the Wheatley-Cashmere game Saturday night.
Nice. All right, well, that'll be fun.
At least it's a 6 o'clock kick and not a 7 o'clock kick.
True.
That helps.
When is your big show?
10:30 Saturday night.
All right, you'll have everything.
Yeah, Dave Campbell's YouTube.
Got you. Yeah, Booker T's just stumbling into this thing. It'd be kind of
they'd be backing into the playoffs for sure.
Back in big time. They lost 4 in a row now. They're not going to lose the north side, but still. All right, 12-4A. We got a district title matchup on Saturday at 1 o'clock. Crawford taking on Navasota at Hall. Crawford has just manhandled this district to see what they can do with Navasota. Needville's going to be the 4, I believe, and they can still beat Stafford, right? So that's a big one as well. Stafford and Needville play each other. That's for seeding.
No seeding is locked in this district quite yet because, I think, Crawford is probably looking like the 1 seed that can take care of Navasota. So that's a good matchup Saturday, 8-1 versus Stafford 2. It's a good game. And then
we'll be at that one.
Takes on Needville. So lots to still be – nothing's set in stone. If you were asking me how I think it'll shake out, I'd go Crawford 1, Stafford 2, Navasota 3, and Needville 4 as my guess. But, again, anything can happen. This is nothing is locked. There are no seeds that are clinched in this district, which is rare.
It is rare. It's especially since it's a 6-team district, and this is 15-4A is a 6-team district as well. We know all the teams that are in there. Do we have the seeding down? I believe Calhoun's got a big one with Bay City here that could flip things.
Yeah, so Lavernia right now, Lavernia is taking on El Campo, so Lavernia is locked in. We do know Lavernia out of San Antonio area is the 1 seed, the defending regional champ. They are the 1 seed. Bay City takes on Calhoun. Winner of that game is going to be the 2. And the loser is going to be the 3, and then El Campo is actually locked. They're already locked in as the 4 seed. There is, there's nothing that El Campo can do. Even if they beat Lavernia, they would still have head-to-head losses to Bay City and Calhoun. So El Campo is actually locked in as the 4, and Lavernia is locked in as the 1.
El Campo, that's another team that's kind of stumbling into the playoffs here, but that's mainly because they're playing top-level competition.
I think El Campo is going to be a team that they're going to have the toughest first-round matchup because they're going to have to play Cal Allen. But I think the other 3 teams in this district, I would put them as favorites over the teams out of District 16.
All right. Let's go down to Division 2, 10-4A Division 2. We got a big one with Sweeney and Wharton. That's going to be for the last spot, right?
Yeah, old rivals there, Sweeney and Wharton. Wharton comes in at 3-2. Fresh off a nice win over Brookshire Royal. So Wharton right now is looking pretty good to get the 3 seed here. Brookshire Royals at 2, and so we know West Columbia at the top of the district. They're undefeated.
Yeah, we can take a pause here for a second and talk about if you know anything about that West Columbia Lamarck game, because that thing looked sweet. 35-33. That was a great game.
2 really good teams going at it. They know each other very well. They played a lot this summer in 7-on-7. Very competitive. Not bad blood or anything, just really 2 really competitive football teams getting after it. So West Columbia gets the 1. Lamarck is locked in as the 2. Where things get interesting is after that, Wharton, Brookshire Royal, and Sweeney. One of these teams is going to be out of the playoffs. Wharton got a big win over Brookshire Royal. whereas Sweeney lost to Brookshire Royal. So now what Sweeney's got to do is they got to beat Wharton and beat them pretty good to make sure they can get into the playoffs because of the tiebreaker scenario. I do not have the tiebreakers in this district, but what I can tell you is if Sweeney beats Wharton, we're going to have a three-way tie. Brookshire Royal is going to beat Katy Harmony. I mean,
yeah. Yes.
Sorry, Katy Harmony. Brookshire Royal is going to win. And then if Katy wins, Sweeney wins, then Sweeney, Wharton, and Brookshire are 3-3. If Wharton wins, Sweeney's out. And then Wharton's the 3, Brookshire Royal's the 4.
And if they end up going by points in the tiebreaker deal there, it looks like Wharton's got 2 points on Royal and Sweeney's got 6, on.
Yeah, so Wharton beat Royal by 2. So they're +2. Royal has played Sweeney and Wharton. So Wharton is plus.
They lost to both of them, didn't they?
No, they beat Sweeney by 6.
Yeah, they beat them by 6.
So Brookshire Royal's +4, and they're locked in at +4. Where Wharton right now is +2, and then Sweeney is -6. So Sweeney is going to have to win by at least
10 or 11.
9.
Oh, okay.
-6 and +2. They're going to have to win by 9 to pass Wharton. So
that's asking a lot, but they'll be keeping. So they'll have one guy. Do they do that? They have one coach on the sideline, constantly having their mind on how many points they need to win by.
Oh, I'm sure they know going in. They'll say, they know how many. I'm sure the head coach knows that.
Well, the key to the battle is like.
I'm sure that every coach on staff knows, and will be quickly reminding if they see something that's kind of out. Hey, coach, we got to win by 8. We got to go for it here, or we need to go for 2. That kind of thing.
Right. All right. Let's look at 11-4A Division II here, the Belleville District. Who are our 4 playoff squads in here?
Belleville got pushed by Madisonville last week, but they got the win. So I think Belleville 1, Sealy 2. Looks like Madisonville is going to be the 3, barring. Let me just double check my stats here. Yeah, Madisonville's locked in as the 3, and Madisonville.
LaGrange would probably be 4.
Look, I forgot about LaGrange. Yeah, so LaGrange plays Sealy. Madisonville plays Winless Giddings. So basically, Madisonville's already defeated LaGrange head-to-head. They beat them 52-35 a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So in order for LaGrange to get the 3 seed, they're going to have to beat Sealy and then hope Madisonville loses to Giddings. So Madisonville gets the 3 with a win or LaGrange loss.
Yeah, when LaGrange plays the big boys, they've been beaten pretty badly. They beat 30 each, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, lastly, let's talk a little bit about the East Bernard Tidehaven game. That's for a district title there. We're actually going to have a camera down there. They're pretty excited to have old Jeff Power down there. Jeff's on salary, so he goes wherever we tell him to go.
Got to hit the road.
So
go to El Maton.
What is your thoughts on this one? Does it feel like a Tidehaven runaway, or is it
Tidehaven's looking like they can get to Arlington. David Lucio's ball club is a wagon. They have not played a game closer to 21 points all year. They have been rolling. Cale Russell at quarterback. They got TJ and Boogie Galvan. A lot of playmakers there at Tidehaven. East Bernard's kind of, not super fancy, not super flashy, but very efficient. I just don't know if East Bernard's got the firepower to keep up with Tidehaven. I think Tidehaven gets the district championship and cruises into the playoffs at 10-0.
And they're playing some awesome football. It's week 11, buddy. Where are you going to be?
So I'm staying close to the house this week because I've been to Houston the last 2 weeks, but no road trips this week because I got Saturday. Saturday is like my busiest day of the year. I wake up at 6 in the morning and I'll work until we have our show over at midnight. So it'll be an 18-hour day for me, getting the brackets and the matchups ready to go because I know certain guys like you.
Certain people like to bug you.
Yeah, are waiting for them. So got to get it done. It's my charity work for the people to get it done. So I'll be grinding away Saturday. So I'll be close to home Thursday and Friday. Thursday I'll be in Mansfield, Texas for Arlington, Seguin, and Mansfield Summit. It's a winner go home game. Winners in the playoffs, losers out. So love those kind of games. And then Friday night I'll be at Chisholm Trail High School in Northwest Fort Worth, watching Saginaw taking Chisholm Trail rivalry game. The winner gets Denton Ryan in the first round of the playoffs. But, hey, you don't get Alito because the loser gets Alito in the first round of the playoffs. So it's the Avoid Alito Bowl. And
Alito likes to jack around, put 70 on everybody these days.
They're doing it,
It's their new thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's going to be sweet. Everybody's going to pay attention. I told you I'm going to try to have some discipline this year. hold off till Sunday because I got my college roommates coming in. We're doing a bunch of stuff, and the last thing they need me to do is constantly be on my phone wondering where El Campo is going to be playing their first round game.
I'm not going to hear from you Saturday. Okay, great. All right. I can cross you off the list.
Cross me off the list. You're going to be blocked anyway. It doesn't matter if I said I was going to call you. Got to block them on Saturday. I'll bring them back on Sunday.
I won't be calling anybody but coaches on Saturday. Or maybe my wife. It's my wife's birthday too, so I'll be calling her.
Oh God, you better call her 2-3 times. You're gonna call her up. You're gonna call her up and say, Coach Nelson, I need to know. This is your wife. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you get my gift of cash?
Yeah.
I sent you cash. Did you get it?
Get it? Yeah. So the only people I'm calling Saturday are coaches and my wife. So no, I love you. I'm not calling you Saturday. I got too much crap to do. You're
a real jerk, but a jerk that I really like.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to talk playoffs next week, Stepp. So everybody tune in next week because we're back. Playoff talk. And it's the second season. We all love that. See you later, Stepp.
Later.